it was difficult getting back in school, and then getting back in school at my age, so I'm like, I'm not like your, it's several older students, in my classes now, but just getting back in school, just the idea of going back and getting your mind positioned into that arena to say, okay, this is what I have to do. I have to do this if I want to see this. So I started to, kind of just set some things in motion. And I always look at my where I want to begin, and I look at my end goal. So that's how I start. I kind of start with the end in mind.
Hey everybody, I'm back with another episode of Soul Success Stories. And today I am super excited to be talking to my friend and really and truly the inspiration behind the So What Literacy, Life Skills, and Character Education curriculum. And I'll explain why. Shelia Chatman. Now, I met Shelia when she was the professional school counselor at Alton Elementary School. And our quick story is she saw my book, my memoir, my first book on someone's coffee table. Shout out Liddell Beeman, right? and, and she immediately saw a connection for me to be able to help her students, her fifth grade students. And that began what I think is going to be a lifelong friendship, but it also was the catalyst for me creating this curriculum that has been super impactful, super powerful. She helped me to see something I didn't see, and I'm super excited about it. But Shelia is the regional mental health counselor for responsive ed, and she'll talk a little bit more about that. But I am super excited. I'm so happy to see you, Shelia. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm a native of Tennessee, of course, and I moved to Houston recently. Actually moved in supporting my grandson, so he can kind of finish up his career, his athletic responsibilities, his career, what he wanted to do. I'm also been in education. I've been a classroom teacher, a school counselor for like 22 years. So I've been in it. And then I decided I wanted to get my licensed professional counselor. I wanted to be that. So I had to make a move, So things didn't work out for me too much, well, too well in Memphis. So I had to make that move and came to Houston, where I have so many opportunities. Just it's so much more available here for me. So I did that, and that's where I am right now. So
That's awesome, awesome. Okay, so you're a mom of two.
yes, I have two adult children, Danielle and Damien, and one young adult grandson, this Travis. And so he's 19. So I'm going through that. He's graduated high school now, so I'm going through that empty nest syndrome right now because he's
Yeah,
been with me for years.
that's what I'm about to say. I was like, when I met you, you were being that grandma. You had him. So
Yes, yes.
super excited. So yeah, you have a powerful story. You've been through a lot. I'm excited to share with everybody. So first of all, let's talk about this curriculum just a little bit and how you played a role in it. So when you were the professional school counselor at Alton Elementary, kind of take us back to that time when we first got connected.
Okay, so of course, just like you said, I saw the book just sitting on a friend's counter and picked it up, and only read the forward. I only read the forward. I didn't even read the book. I didn't even read the intro or anything like that. So once I read that, I said this will be excellent for my fifth grade girls. One reason being is because they're at that age that they're starting their menstrual cycle, and they need to know, the ins and outs that come with it. And just getting into the book, I saw that it was do so much more, not just helping them, understand their bodies, but it really helped them understand relationships. Get into relationships, it really helped them understand and build their self-esteem, and get to know who they are. And it really started to, from that end, they were able to actually look into working toward their resilience, learning who they are and working toward it.
Well, I'm so excited, and that was meaningful to me when you pointed out a lot of the things that you saw in it and how we began our relationship, and you shared with me how that I could create a really powerful literacy
Uh,
curriculum. And so years now, it's been over a decade ago that we've done that we worked together and we did that. And I just wanted to let you know before we even get into the interview how much I appreciate you. And every time I share the curriculum with a new group, I say, "Hey, Shelia Chatman, who was the professional school counselor at Alton Elementary, really helped me to see this. So thank you, Sheila. And I'm glad that we
You're so welcome. You're
yeah,
so welcome. I mean, it has done wonders throughout the years. I look at the girls that I did, initially start with. So they have grown. Of course, they're young adults now. Just to see them grow and see what they're becoming, it's just so it just makes me smile. I'm
I
just
love it.
elated, because you can see some of those traits that they have carried, they learn from that, and they carry that on in their life.
And that
So I'm glad to see that.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Well, look, let's get into your story.
Okay.
Your story. So, but I did want to give you those flowers because that means a lot to
I
me.
really appreciate that.
Yes. Okay. So in this program, I have what I call the So What Success System. It's my belief that anyone, if they can learn how to overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate choices, they can have so what success. And that is so success in spite of anything you go through. And so, Sheila, you and I been through some pictures just came into my mind.
Oh,
We done
yes.
been through some things, and I watched you experience some things throughout life that have not been ideal, have definitely been challenging, and I know
Mhm.
I don't even know the half of it. Uh, but you've overcome those things, and you are a so a success woman for sure. So let's talk about some of the obstacles you've had to overcome and just how you did it to get to where you are today.
Okay, well, just using a book as an example, of course, my daughter, she was a teenage mom. So, just going through that, even though you all's experiences were totally different, she was a teenage mom. So just getting into that and using that information and that knowledge to help the kids that I was working with at that time and currently working with now. So I'll get into that as well to share that. But my success story with that helped me tremendously. Even as of course, we've come beyond it, and my grandson, of course, was a product, and I helped raise him, or really raised him, because he's been with me this whole time. So even with that, I learned how to persevere and move forward and press on. So that was something, and then to move from there to just him growing up and going through the emotions of school, getting him in school, and things like that. So, and then moving on as I got older, okay, and I'm in my profession as a school counselor, then I decided I want to become, a LPC, the licensed professional counselor. So I started to make that change, which it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. Definitely wasn't easy. So even looking for some locations in order to do my internship, I had issues with that in Memphis. So thinking it was going to work out, then it didn't work out. And so I'm like, okay, talk to my son. He's like, because my son lives in Houston. He's like, okay, come on, just come on to Houston. And before I even got to Houston, I made that connection with a supervisor, a LPC supervisor that helped me find my way. So once I got here, it wasn't, everything is not smooth now. It's not smooth sailing. And even it, and I look at my age as a factor, and I probably shouldn't do that, but that's one thing that kind of holds me back. And because I know a lot of people make moves, when they're younger, because they can easily adjust. As we get older, we kind of get set in our ways, and it's not easy to adjust. So I had to make a lot of adjustments with that move. So it's still making them. So,
All right.
um,
Look, you
but
said
here I
you definitely are. So you said
am.
stuff that I want you to talk a little bit more about because I just think about, the situation. And the whole reason why I'm doing this is because I want people to see people who are dealing with or have experienced some of the things that they may be going through or struggling with, and to see how they can overcome it. So one thing that you talked about was raising your grandson. And so there are a lot of people out there, um, especially women, but also men too, who are primary caregivers or a big support in helping to raise their grandchildren. Now I know that's a challenge. That's
No, yes, it's
that
a
is not
challenge.
easy. Can you talk a little bit more about how you did that and how you
Okay, it was like I said, it wasn't easy. A whole lot of ups and downs. Of course, it also too, when we actually got my grandson, he wasn't. He was like, I want to say my grandson was like 6, because beforehand he was with his other grandparents. So, and then he came with us permanently when he was about 6. So even at that age, at getting him at that age, I had a lot to work on because academically he wasn't where he was supposed to be. So to, being an educator, of course, I want him on track. So those were some things that we worked at on getting him ready for that. So instead of him doing the athletics during the summertime, no, we were hitting those books. And I really appreciate, and I want to shout them out as well. I really appreciate my pre-K teachers that I had and my kindergarten teachers that I had at Alton Elementary at that time, because they shared those resources with me to help get my grandson where he needed to be. And so when school started, then that following year, he was, he wasn't on target, but he was almost there. He was had grown a whole lot more than where he was. So even just going through that, dealing with getting him at the academic level where he should be, dealing with that, and then even getting on up into the teenage years. Of course, here it is again. So I look at that as raising him gave me like a second chance. I'm not sure if you kind of understand it, but
absolutely.
yeah, you do. So when you get you've already raised your kids, but now you get a second chance to do this with your grandchild. So with him, of course, I did some things different. I looked at what I did with my kids and used it and say, okay, now we know this didn't work, so we got to do something different. So I use those things to my advantage, to help him, help him succeed, to help him push on.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not raising my grandchildren, but I'm very active in their lives and spend a lot
mm,
of time with them. And so I definitely get okay, this is a second chance. There's a lot I learned, and especially with me being such a young mom, I didn't know what I was doing.
exactly.
Figuring
And
it
then
out.
when you're dealing with the other families, and it's just, it can be very chaotic at times, but um, I consider myself to be mild mannered, and I went on it. We handled the situation, but it worked itself out. It
Yeah.
definitely worked itself
Well, I
out.
can imagine it being an adjustment for you and your lifestyle, to be raising your grandchild. And so I think
Hmm.
the mindset that you had, and it's just like it's a second chance. And so you went at it, you went hard at it. Okay, so the other thing that you said though, that I would like for you to talk a little bit more about is you going back to school to do LPC, to become an LPC. Um, and going to school, going to college is a challenge for a lot of people, probably for
Yes,
most people. And then you talk
yes,
about the age factor. So it's exciting
yes.
to me, though. That's really exciting to me because there are a lot of people who are watching this, I'm sure, who want to go to school and they feel like, well, I'm too old, or that ship has sailed. And so talk a little bit more about you going back to school and overcoming the obstacle of I haven't done this in a long time. I'm doing it again. Talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so my adult children now consider me as a lifetime student. So they say, Mama, you've been in school forever, So, and when I did finish my master's, and I said, okay, I'm done. I'm done for a while. But then, things change. Some other things come across your mind. And then I said, well, maybe I can go back to school. So I did. I got back in. I was interested in that LPC. actually one of my friends, she had suggested it some years ago. She said, since we're school counselors, we really need to work on, being in mental health portion of it, and that way we can really help the students. So we talked about it and but never acted on it. But when I really decided to act on it, it was difficult, getting back in school. It was difficult getting back in school, and then getting back in school at my age, so I'm like, I'm not like your it's several older students, in my classes now, but just getting back in school, just the idea of going back and getting your mind positioned into that arena to say, okay, this is what I have to do. I have to do this if I want to see this. So I started to, kind of just set some things in motion. And I always look at my where I want to begin, and I look at my end goal. So that's how I start. I kind of start with the end in mind. So that's how I was able to push on it and do that. But I was also working on my LPC as well as the doctoral program. So that was another, I got set back a little bit, but I'm on target because guess what? I should be graduating in July of this
Oh,
year.
that's exciting.
Yes, I should be
Look,
graduating. So,
so look, that takes me to the second part of the So a Success system, which is eliminating excuses. So you were kind of alluding to that anyway. Talk about some of the excuses that you've had to eliminate, including where you were going with that story, so that you can become very soon Dr. Sheila
mhm.
Chatman,
Okay,
LP.
well, I had to, of course, working in the school system, it can be difficult. It can be difficult at times. So I had to say, okay, are you going to do work at the school? How are you going to map out your time? So that was another thing. I had to map out my time. So during the week, extremely busy as a school counselor, and my hats are off to all school counselors because I know I'm been there, know what it's like. um, it consumes your whole entire day. Even when you get home, you're pretty much burned out. But you have to set a goal in mind. So I just kind of set me a goal in mind. I set me up a schedule on how, when I had my classes and when I will complete my assignments. So that's how I just set me up a schedule and I stuck to it. Oh, I missed out on so many hanging out activities. I missed out on a lot of it. So it's like they call me, hey, we're going such and such and such and such. I'm like, dang, I gotta do this assignment. I gotta get this assignment in. And I normally would use my weekends to do my work. So that's how I did it. But I missed out on so many
Relate
opportunities.
to that.
I missed out on so many opportunities with that. But I had to say, okay, you can always hang out. You want to hang out now or you want to really hang out later. You get this degree, and then it puts you in another position, in another I'm gonna say tax bracket. I would say that.
You know what?
So,
Where you were going with it, I love it because it takes me to the third part. So success is calculating choices. And I always think about that temporary sacrifice, like you just talked about, the temporary sacrifice of hanging out now. And then I can't remember whose quote it was. It was like to do what other people won't do now so that you can do what other people
you
can't later. And so that's
yes.
what I wanted to talk about a little bit more. Continue with that story and talk about some more of your choices that you've had to make along your way.
Okay, well, like I said, I did have to make me out a schedule, where I have to study. And I had to put a lot of the extracurricular activities to the side, which was, I'm not a person that really hangs a lot anyway, but I still had to make that sacrifice to put those events and so many events I missed, activities and all of that. I had to make that sacrifice because I had to, like I said, I had to weigh that option. Okay, look, do you want this now or you really want to do this later? So with that, making those sacrifices, um, and just having what should I say? You kind of make up your mind. You make up your mind and you stick to it. I'm the type of person I like to start something and finish it. So it might take some time, but I'm going to finish it. I don't want to get started on something and don't finish it. So I just kind of make a plan, and set a goal and just work toward it. And it's been hard now. It's very difficult. It's not easy. It's not easy to stay there because a lot of times I'm like everybody else. I want to chill. I just want to sit back and just just chill. But you have to put forth that effort, to push on and have that resiliency to continue on to what you want to become.
I love it. I love it, Sheila. And so you've definitely proven that you know how to overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate choices because you just shared that and really in one story. You shared a few other things, but in that story, if you get in this degree, which is a huge life-changing thing, I know for you. And I know there's so much more to you and so many other things you could have shared, but in our short time, that's you can't share everything. But what I know about you though is that you are a solo success woman. You know you have done all of those things, overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate choices to be successful. But Sheila, what is your personal definition of success? How will you define success?
I would define success as not giving up. Don't give up. If there's something you really want to do not give up. Keep at it. And I'm just say my adult children, even my grandson, that's what he's chosen now. He's no longer that athlete, but they are into entertainment. So, and they're still pushing and still working toward it because that's really something they want to do. Now, my grandson, he chose out of all those years, being an athlete, he chose, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be in entertainment. So, but my adult children have been in it. So just keep at it. Don't give up. It might get slow. Things might not work out, as planned. But if there's something you want to do, keep at it. Just keep at it.
Don't give up. I love it. I love it. And and I definitely can agree with that. That you Yeah, but I love that. I like that how you define that as success too. Is if you keep trying, then you are successful because you're still trying.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Okay, last question
Okay.
for you. What is one piece of advice that you would give somebody watching this, who somebody who wants to be successful, but they may have challenges, and maybe they're in a situation like you, and they just want to go back to school. They've been out of school for a little while, and they want to go back to school. What's one piece of advice that you would give?
And since you mentioned now, just thinking about the age, I have a tendency to think about that a lot, my age, because that's like even in my counseling profession, really every all my colleagues were counselors. My core group, I would say, were like 10, 12 years younger than me. And I always call myself like a late bloomer that I got started late. But actually, I was just able to say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna do this. Even now, being starting over, that's a big thing to start over at my age, to start over, because that's pretty much what I did when I left Memphis and uh, moved on to what I'm doing now, to start over. So um, I can say again, just, keep put set something in your mind that you really want to do. If that's what you really want to do, you're gonna have some ups, you're gonna have some downs. It's not gonna always be uh it's not gonna always be exciting. It's not gonna always be exciting. It's gonna be some times when you get down, but you have to push forward. I also hopefully you can have a support group because my son has really served as a super support for me, in this transition that I'm making now. So hopefully you can have a support group, but if not, just keep pushing and support, be a support of your own. Speak positive affirmations. You please use that. It's so many different things, and I was gonna say in your book that my high school kids love, and they are learning. So when you use your scriptures at the end, and they love it, and I use that as well. So I use those to keep, me uplifted and keep me encouraged and keep me moving forward. So
Oh,
I'm not sure if I answered that question.
you
So
did. It was more than one. It was a lot of advice, and
okay.
important to me too, because so that's the thing. Now you're in Houston, you are using the curriculum with high school students, and but I love it that it's been able to support you in the work that you're doing continuously. But thank you for that advice, because again, somebody is watching this, and somebody wants to go back to school, and they may have been out of school 10 years, 15 years. Like I've personally been out of school almost 20 years myself. So it would be a hard thing for me to go back. Even somebody who's just been out 1 year or 2 years, it's not easy to go back to school and the dedication that it takes to go
It's
back.
not easy. Mm-mm.
So that advice is very, very helpful. Sheila, thank you. I am
You are
glad
so
we
welcome.
did catch up. I appreciate you sharing your story. I appreciate you being my friend. And I appreciate you believing in me and my curriculum and the work that I'm doing. And I just thank you and I love you, girl.
You're so welcome.